Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. Time for the story of the month and highlights from the Old Farmer's Almanac. Alrighty, let's see what we got this month. On the 3rd, a full worm moon. On the 8th, daylight savings time begins at 2 a.m. On the 9th, Mattel's Barbie doll debuted in 1959. Happy birthday, Barbie. On the 10th, hummingbirds migrate north now. On the 15th, beware the Ides of March. On the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. On the 20th, World Frog Day. For the story of the month, in honor of World Frog Day, on March the 20th, we must have the following folktale.
Once upon a time, there was a wide-mouthed frog, and he went hopping down the road. Hopped and plopped and hopped and plopped and hopped and plopped. You're saying this with me. You know this story, don't you? Yeah. And finally, he stopped because right there on the side of the road was a cow. But he didn't recognize it as a cow. He'd never seen one before. Big long horns poking out the front, big long tail hanging off the back, black and white blotches all over it. When he spoke to it, it said, "Moo." "Good morning, Mrs. Cow. I am the wide-mouthed frog." The cow said good morning. He never talked to a real live cow, so he decided to ask her a question. "What do you feed your babies?" The cow thought for a minute, and then she said, I feed my babies milk." "Oh, that's nice," said the wide-mouthed frog. "Thank you very much." And he hopped away. Hopped and plopped and hopped and plopped and hopped and plopped till he stopped because on the other side of the road, right behind a split rail fence, was a horse. He didn't recognize it as such. He'd never seen one. Long, spindly legs, brown hair, big long ponytail hanging off the back. When he spoke to it, it said, "Good morning, Mrs. Horse. I am the wide-mouthed frog." The horse said good morning. He never talked to a real live horse either, so he decided to ask her the same question. "What do you feed your babies?" The horse thought for a second, and then she said, "Well, I feed my babies hay." "Oh, that's nice," said the wide-mouthed frog. "Thank you very much." And he hopped away. Hopped and plopped and hopped and plopped until he stopped because right there in the middle of the road there was a bump with a head and 2 legs poking out the front of the bump and a tail and 2 legs poking out the back of the bump, and it moved very, very slowly. "Good morning, Mrs. Turtle. I am the wide-mouthed frog." The turtle said good morning. He'd never stopped long enough to talk to a turtle. Perfect time to ask his question. "What do you feed your babies?" Turtle thought for a minute. Actually, turtles think very slowly, so she thought for 2 minutes. And finally she said, "Well, I feed my babies worms." "Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much." And he hopped away, hopped and plopped and hopped and plopped and hopped and plopped. The road came to an end at the river. And laying on the riverbank was this big, long, green, humpity-bumpity thing. It had 4 short, stubby legs, a long, pointy tail, and hundreds of snaggle-aggly teeth. "Good morning, Mrs. Alligator. I am the wide-mouthed frog." The alligator said good morning. He never talked to a real live gator. Perfect time to ask his question. "What do you feed your babies?" The alligator smiled a big toothy grin and she said, "I feed my babies wide-mouthed frogs." "Ew! That's nice. Thank you very much." And that was the end of that.